Hello all, it's James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and welcome back to Empyrion Galactica Survival. Or Empyrion Galactic Survival. Anyway, last time I was basically showing you this game, that this is what I've been doing, etc, etc. I mentioned that I wanted to make a new capital vessel, and that I would probably walk you guys through the kind of like the shell of the capital vessel. So this obviously isn't the completed vessel, but this is what I would call the primary innards completed. So yeah, very basic design, right? I've just taken a flat little sheet here and put it on stilts like so that I can work on it here on the ground. So there's some drawbacks to building a capital vessel on the ground, and that's that you have a habit of building like I have, where you have this, I don't know, flat layer on the bottom, which means the core is immediately exposed on the underbelly, and you're creating a ship that is weak to being strafed on the underside, if you will. I do plan to rectify that in the future. I am aware of that, but that is one of the issues with building here in atmosphere instead of up there in space, where you can, the underbelly of the capital vessel doesn't end up as, I don't know, lacking. But it's easy to build here in atmosphere because you don't have to worry about breathing. You can take your time. You have your base available to do all the hard production for you. I mean, this is just the way I like to do it, and what I'm just taking you for a quick walk around what I've done so far. So here's the center, the core room, if you will. I'm kind of wondering what I'm going to do with this. I think I might make this a core room and a storage room, and I might put some storage in here, and maybe I could fit maybe like an advanced constructor hanging off the ceiling above the core. I think that could actually make it a good design. So then I would have the production and the cargo all in this area, which would be pretty neat. Nifty, somewhat compact, good use of space, I think. Anyway, in here is basically the workroom. This is where the pentaxid tank is, as well as 4 of the thrusters, and it's sealed off so that you can avoid the whole radiation issue. It's got a nice 1 block buffer around it, so nobody walking around is going to get irradiated by the warp tanks, and it is even taking care of those thrusters as well, so you won't get the minor amount of radiation that you would get from the thrusters. In here is main engineering. The thrusters are basically, this is the exact same room as this, except there's different stuff in it, right? And these thrusters are at the same spots inside of this room. They're just kind of covered up by the equipment, right? There, you can maybe make it out, like right around here, that there's a thruster underneath this generator, as well as a thruster underneath one of the gas tanks here, and again underneath one of the gas tanks. So I've covered up those thrusters with the equipment here in main engineering. So I've got 4 medium gas tanks. I've got 2 tier 1 generators, and I've got 2 oxygen tanks. And I feel like that's a good engineering room. It should, well, it has more gas than that guy has, and it has more power than that guy has. Maybe too large, might be limited. I could upgrade. I could toss in a small generator there and a small generator there if need be, if I find I need more power. And I could throw in some more gas tanks here if need be, if I feel that the gas is too limiting. But for now, I'm happy with what's here. And I'm quite happy with how it's compartmentalized the way it is, in that I'm former US Navy. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I'm envisioning an actual naval vessel and how a naval vessel would be designed, and I'm trying to put in some of the same building parameters inside of this. So in most ships you have the P-ways, or the hallways, that go up and down the port and starboard side of the ships, like so. And the middle portion of the ship is usually like the ship's quarterdeck, right? And in the middle portion of the ship, there's usually a place where you can cut across from the one P-way to the other. And oftentimes you'll have like the ship's brow that'll pull up right here, and you'll have the officer of the deck standing here. And I'm going to try to encapsulate the concept of an actual naval vessel inside of this build. That is my concept. So naval vessels have different levels. You have the first level, which is probably your base level, like this. Then you have the second deck, which is one down from the first deck, and the third deck, which is 3 decks down. Though, having built the first deck kind of the way I have, it's going to be a little difficult to build decks going down, but I may still figure out a way to do it. And then you have the O1 level, O2 level, O3 levels, which are decks going up. And usually up in this area on the O3 level, you generally have like the ship's bridge, which tends to sit right over combat systems, which is usually on the O2 level. So I do tend to probably put a bridge right about in this area, and then I do want to extend that out farther. Kind of like a ship. Of course, this isn't this isn't going to be a ship. I'm not going to be sailing around on planets. I'm going to be sailing around in space. But that's my motivation. That's my concept. Is to try to use a U.S. Navy maritime type ship as inspiration for building this ship. So somewhere in this area, I am envisioning like the fantail down there. I'm envisioning maybe in this area probably being the first level deck, which is generally I served on Spruance class destroyers, right? And for me, this would be probably where wow, hello. Oh, God. Sea Sparrow, where the Sea Sparrow launcher would be. And maybe I might be able to create my own Sea Sparrow launcher out of missile launchers in the game, which would be kind of cool. And then, of course, down there farther on the fantail would be the rear 5-inch gun, and I'm sure that one of the bigger guns kind of looks like a 5-inch. I'd probably put one back there. Up in this area would probably be the flight deck, where the helicopter comes and lands, as well as the hangar to pull the helicopter into. I'm certainly going to try to fit that into this area, as a hangar is you know, you need a place to park your small vessel, and I certainly want to encapsulate that into this build. I think in this forward section up here, I might put the shield room, as that's one of the things I'm missing in this build, is a 3x3 section for the shield. Though yeah, I think we can do it. I think we can pull it off. So a shield room forward of the actual bridge. No, I don't know. There's still a lot of things to. Maybe I could put the bridge on top of the shield. Make like the shield room here and put the bridge up on top of it. I don't know. But yeah, I want this to be a fully functional capital vessel with, you know, your full complement of guns, your well, actually the one piece of equipment I'll probably leave off of it is gravity generator. I'm not a big, I don't want to say fan of gravity generator, because I don't think it's something you're a fan of. I think it's just an optional piece of equipment, right? I don't really need gravity on my capital vessel. In a lot of ways, I think it hinders operations in space more than it helps. I mean, there are certainly some situations where having a gravity generator is useful, but you know, it's situational, and it's a fairly sizable piece of equipment. It's a fairly expensive piece of equipment, and capital vessels tend to be, well, I don't want to say limited by their size, in that, well, there is a limit to size, right? There's how big am I getting here? I haven't even really looked at that. What is this considered right now? Well, we're CPU tier 2, but where's the size level? It's not really showing a size level. Did they get rid of size level? Size class 1. Okay, so I'm still size class 1. I would like to keep it down like size class 2 or less. And I want to stay within CPU tier 2 or less. And I want it to be fully functional. So maybe this is a bit of a wish list that I'm embarking on. Maybe it's an impossible wish list, but I think it can be done. And yeah. So that's how I've laid it out so far. I will check back in as I accomplish a bit more activities here. So this obviously is going to be the, you know, the P way. There's going to be a wall here, right? And unlike a lot of capital vessels that you might get off of like the Steam Workshop, where you completely get lost in it, you're not going to get lost in this guy, because you're going to have this main hallway that goes up and down the ship here on the port side, and then you're going to have a main hallway that goes up and down the ship over here on the starboard side. And so it's going to be incredibly simple to navigate, as well as I'm going to try to put in the concept of watertight integrity, which, you know, obviously is to keep flooding from happening in the Navy, I think the same watertight type integrity could, well, it would create spaced armor. It would create air pockets between sections of armor and other compartments, as well as, there's airtight integrity too. Just because you got hit in a certain spot, you're not going to completely depressurize the entire ship. Not that that really happens in Empyrion, right? So oxygen doesn't really work in Empyrion like it would in real life. You don't risk a total cascade of losing all your oxygen because you open up the hole in your ship, because it just magically comes out of the ventilators, and even if the ventilator is venting into the void of space, it doesn't really vent into the void of space. It just like pretends that it magically turns it off, and the oxygen is not wasted into the void of space, right? It's the oxygen system in the game is certainly dumbed down, but the RP value of having the separations is, I guess, important for me in my mind. So yeah, I'm certainly going to be putting in the same type of bulkhead system with various different doorways along each hallway here, to simulate airtight integrity, as well as to compartmentalize the ship so that maybe it'll be better in a battle because it will have spaced armor naturally as part of the build. Anyway, those are some rambling and some concepts, and we'll see what happens when I get this finished out. But the next video will probably be, I don't know, like a midway point. I'm sure I won't be done with the ship yet. But yeah, that's where I am. That's what I've done so far with this new CV, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. I'm quite pleased with the progress, shall I say. Anyway, I'm James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until the next time, all, peace.